Now there's a man who knows what he's talking about, because John Howard, he came to Lismore for that photo when Elspeth got him behind the head, remember they? And you know, we asked him, well, what about farmers' hemp, John? You know, grow it instead of wood chipping, or instead of cotton and all the pesticides, or the seed is so nutritious. No, he said, true. Never heard of farmers' hemp? That's true, mate. It's the system. He's locked in Parliament House, mate. Hey, I think he only sees plastic flowers. That is a true story. I like that it's silenced you guys. It's shock value. Anyway, the police are searching someone up there right now, I think, behind there. Absolutely strip searching someone. Shame on them. And they will meet their karma. Anyway, we're not riding hippies, mate. Not the way you thought, anyway. Help me anyway. I'm into peace and love, mate, and I tell you what, if I was in Baghdad, I reckon I'd feel the same, wouldn't you? Bloody war, it is so dumb. And that line of I'm just following orders is a cop-out. Excuse the pun. Yes. I want to introduce you to another famous local, Lisa Yeates. That's who she is today anyway. You ready for this? She has been our Hemp Olympics Queen Mother. She has been the Ganja Fairy Queen Mother of all big time. And above all, many people, including the media, have used her in place of Princess Anne, often. Thank you very much, Lisa.
I feel I'm sort of here really as a whim from Michael. I was just standing somewhere nearby at the Hemp Embassy. But also...
Dressed like this.
No. Then I made an effort. But what I'm here for really is replacing the beautiful Winifred, who used to speak for the Elder Women's Forum. And so, as I guess one of the self-proclaimed elder females of this community, and having been here for nearly 30 years, I'd just like to pass on to some of the people that have come here. For all of you that have known me all that time, you've heard all these stories 100 times. But for those of you that have come here against all odds, and I wouldn't want to go through that blockade at the road at Gulmangar with police dogs smelling my car either. So look, you are so brave. So brave. And we're really dependent on you people to take this message back home. That this is what our life can be if we let it. If we let it go on, we can live with police and this fascist state that we've got to experiment. Now, only 4 years ago, I was telling all the crowd standing here again that this is what it felt like when there was no prohibition. When marijuana was something, we had demonstrations of industrial hemp and fabrics and seed and everything. And this is what hemp can do for this community, for this planet. And this is what it would feel like if there was no prohibition, because everyone was really happy. We were smoking pot, we were sharing it, seeds were being exchanged. So now, everybody, this is what it feels like when you live under oppression. And we have been oppressed here for since before Easter. We have had these boys. Now, the point being, this is what it's like in the city all the time, I understand. Around Redfern and places, this is how the police work now, in preparation for riot. As we were coming down the hill, there were 20 policemen protecting the police station, or to make sure that the big joint didn't get lost, but unfortunately it didn't even make it that far, so it was all right. But they were there to stop the mistake if it could happen. And thank you very much. But it did seem a little silly when we got down here, where we could have all gone berserk if we were having the riot. If we were all going to have a riot, which is what we were told we were going to do, well, you'd think we would have had a few here just to look after the citizens that had come in all innocence to partake in this rally. So I find it interesting. And I also find it really illuminating. As Paul said, I'm one of the mob who back in the 70s looked at the fuel embargo, looked at what was going to come out of this world, looked at our total dependence on oil, and thought, this is wrong. Now the irony is, at that time, Australia owned its own resources. We don't own any now. We owned the oil resources here. We don't own any now. None of that money comes here. None of it. All the money. Coles and Woolworths own 80% of all retail industry of food. All that money goes out of the country. Our mission, I believe, seriously, is to reawaken the community, and the money stays with us. And I want you, please, to go back home and start looking at what the experiment here was about. Now, unfortunately, we're being sucked into this horrible world. And this world is in such crisis right now. We are looking at the most atrocious human injustice. We're looking at the most appalling things that 30 years ago, when we took to the streets and wanted to be peace, love and activite, or whatever, activists, it was to bring community and trust and unity and to live sustainably on this beautiful planet. And what have we got now? Abuse beyond belief. And we have, it was only 20 or so years ago, the endangered species in Australia listed or threatened was about 8. It's now something like 500, they announced. On the planet, sorry. And in Australia it's like 200. Now these things have gone on when the authorities have known about what's going to happen. And I know they've known because we've been going out there for 30 years and telling them over and over at the front lines with direct actions to save forests, to save water, to save air, to stop nuclear activity, to save human rights, and to maintain the proper way to live on this planet. And we've worked out a whole lot. And it's not just here in Nimbin, there are pockets all over the planet. And the lesson is, we've got to start looking after ourselves and each other seriously. And the 3 R's: respect yourself, respect others, and take responsibility for your own actions. Take the money out of the insurance industry. Take the money out of the corporate sector. And make choices that mean the future for us all, because God help us, we haven't got much of a hope. If this government, this right-wing fascist government, gets back in the next election, that's it. Give up. What I'm saying to you is that we've got one more chance to bring around a rational world. A rational world. And please, please do what you can. If you are a public servant or involved by the government, involved working with the government, or any position where you are too afraid to come to Nimbin now that we've got a camera. We've got cameras in the street of Nimbin. This little funky peace town has cameras. And what's been interesting is that 50% of our business in the shops has gone. Because we realise people are now too afraid to come to Nimbin to get the little bit of pot that they used to smoke after work. The lawyers, the lecturers, the bankers, the real estate agents, all those people that used to come out here. And probably, well, we could have, it is alleged. Now that's really revealing to me, and so I would appeal to all of you who are public servants or work in the corporate sector or whatever, to please come out. This whole campaign, this rally, everything started when a gentleman called Bob Hopkins stood at the Shannon Market and brought out a cupboard and said, come on, get in the cupboard and come out again. And admit that you smoke pot. And that it's good for the planet, and it does more than just create, it's got so much going for it. And let other people tell you about that. Anyway, enjoy the riot.
Lisa for Prime Minister.